Welcome to Talking Mopars, episode number 116. This is the replay of a Facebook live stream that we recorded today, Sunday afternoon, and it was impromptu, folks. We weren't planning this. We just got together, sat down, and had a good time. It was myself, Jonny Mopar, Big Block, and our buddy Ervin swung in to say hello as well, and we had some activity in the chat with some fun questions. Let's get this show on the road. If you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I'm your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars, live.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
All right, we are live for an impromptu episode of Talking Mopars with a few of the members of the Motley Crew of Mopars. Myself, Jonny Mopar, and Big Block are in the house. I don't know if any of our other friends are going to show up, but they're more than welcome to if they're watching this right now. This is completely impromptu, so let's talk Mopars, I guess. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just trying to catch up on shit.
Dude,
oh, man.
Totally. I got myself in a predicament here. I'm trying to crank out. I think I got like 11 or 12 more bonus episodes. I've been working on bonus episodes. So I'm just trying to get everything outlined so I can just go and just hammer out the rest of them. And then 12 videos that I got to do. So it's going to be a busy week for me.
Wow.
But we're here and going to have a good time for a little bit on this Sunday afternoon. Hopefully some of you guys are just getting back from church or something. I don't know who's going to join us today, but we will see. This is the Church of Mopar, so welcome. Jonny, I like that 68 on the shirt you got there, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I found it online somewhere. Huh?
Okay. You found it online?
Yeah, I just found it online. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So had to have it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. It's funny. I don't know if you guys saw that picture I posted of that guy wearing my shirt in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. I was like, no way. That's insane.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It just still blows my mind that people buy so many of those shirts. It's insane.
Yeah.
But
I remember when I saw it, I was like, I don't even think I knew you did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you already, but I saw the shirt and I was like, man, that is badass. Because us Mopar guys never get anything, you know?
No.
It was like a C10 or F-150 or something.
I didn't realize the impact until we were walking in Kentucky at Holly's Mo Party, and I saw a guy with one of my shirts, and I was like, no effing way. I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. So I was like, in person.
Chris was like, hey, I like your shirt. And the dude's like, oh, yeah? Like, got a little scrappy there for like a split second. And he's like, yeah, it's my shirt.
Oh. Yeah, that's funny. So what are you guys working on lately? I know Big Block got the truck in the background now. Got the truck in the old shop.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Right on. How much progress have you made on it? What you got on the agenda?
The agenda right now is we've got to get the Crown Vic front end lined up just right to where the wheels and everything are where we want them. Right now they're sitting a little too far forward for my like it would go, but it's a little bit further forward. I want it dead center. So we're getting that all lined up and make sure everything's going to mount up. Then we got to then Fro is going to help me attack the wiring and make sure we get everything hooked up and running. Because it's kind of I definitely bought a basket case, but not a bad one.
I think some of us have that issue too.
Well, I mean, they're the most affordable things right now.
Yeah.
So
how much are you into that truck so far?
Like $1,900.
Yeah, that's
wow. That's not bad.
No, it's pretty badass for $1,900. Let me get out of the way of it. Yeah, but just look at that glory.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at. That's easily, $4 or $5 grand, and it's sold like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Those swept lines. And the cool thing about the swept lines is companies like I believe QA1 now has a full suspension for the truck, which is crazy because just a couple short years ago, nobody expected any large aftermarket company to start producing parts, but we're getting suspension components, Hemi swap components. It's definitely an interesting time to be a truck enthusiast, that's for sure.
I think that plays into the fact that everyone, while they're still popular, everyone's tired of C10 stuff. They want something different.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of amazing they haven't jumped on it sooner, because they've made those trucks for so long. I think, 62 to 71 or something like that?
I think so. I do believe so.
And it's like, man, I mean, and they're pretty much identical throughout the years. It's just the grill changed and trim, and I think the tailgates changed a little bit. But it's like, man, if you made a suspension part for that truck and it would cover that wide of a range, it's just, I'll be honest, man. I mean, I love those trucks now, but back in the 90s, like, those were the ugly ducklings. Nobody wanted those things, you know? So I could see why they didn't get much attention back in that time frame, you know?
Right.
One thing I like about the trucks is that you can have one and almost fill a couple different genres of custom, basically. You know, you can have, you can make a little muscle truck that also can be shown at a truck show. You know, they definitely, you know, for somebody who enjoys customs and muscle cars, and you combine both of them, it's perfect. I really enjoy trucks, and I'm glad they're finally starting to, especially the Dodges. Obviously, C10s are everywhere, but it's really nice to see the following of Dodge trucks, and that's why, you know, every time I talk to a couple of these big brands that I have, you know, I tell them about the untapped market of Dodge trucks, and I don't know why. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I almost hate to admit it, but you're busted, dude.
she caught us.
It makes me look bad, because I said, oh, Matt's doing a live right now. I'm going to go up there and jump on with him.
That's my bad. Yeah, I hate to admit it, but when the Gas Monkey Garage did one, and they did that, I mean, the LS swap was lame, but aside from that, the truck came out really bitching, and I think that's what really made me change my mind. But there was one other. I'm not a fan of the step sides or the U beds, but there was one a long time ago in my hood that was yellow, slammed down, and it had a 440 with a tunnel ramp coming out. It didn't have a hood on it. It's like the engine bay was just open. And I thought, holy shit, you know, steamrollers in the back, big fatties and stuff. And I was like, damn, that thing looks badass. So you see a couple of them done up, and it's like, it'll definitely bring you over to the Dodge side. And I especially love the 71s. The grills on the 70s, 71s, I think, are the best. But the 68s and 69s are kind of a close second. And then the older ones, I'm not too big of a fan of the big bug eye. You know, it's got like the headlight with the ring around it.
The big dual headlights and the little turn signal underneath it.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't speak to me too much, but
the pie tins.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about the trucks is the way the hood opens, and I like the way the engine is presented. I don't know. That's one of my favorite things about those old swept lines. We got a question here about old Jeep trucks, the J10s and the J20s. I've always liked them. They haven't been my favorite, but when I see them done right, like at Mo Party, there was a Wagoneer with a twin turbo one that was just tearing it up in the cones.
With the Wu-Tang Clan insignia underneath it. Yeah, that thing was a monster. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was walking through the show, and I just heard someone just tearing it up, and I was like, who the hell is that? And I looked, and it's this Wagoneer just getting after it. I was like, wow, that was awesome.
Is he talking about new ones, or is that a reference to old ones? I'm not a Jeep guy, so I don't really know.
He says old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dylan,
Gladiators.
Dylan wanted to jump on and tell us a story about his Challenger. I've been trying to set one up. Dylan, this was completely unplanned, and I was trying to find you in my chat, and I started the live, and I couldn't find it. So I'm going to post the link in the chat for anybody that wants to jump on and join us here. So the link is getting posted. So if anybody wants to join us, you can click on that link, and it'll put you in the green room, and I'll get you on screen. But yeah, there's tons of potential in those old Jeep trucks. It was weird because I've seen them on Craigslist, and some of them, it's like some people don't understand what they have and other people do. You know what I mean? So I've seen them for a couple $100 all the way up to, you know, $5-6 grand. That seems to be $5 or $6 grand seems to be like the average price of Mopars that haven't quite, you know, stuck with the scene, you know, with the enthusiasts. But it's definitely coming, especially with Wagoneers like that. People are going, oh, and they're seeing the potential there. There's going to be some more built. I can almost guarantee it.
Well, I can tell you right now, I never thought time attack car when you think Jeep Wagoneer.
No, not at all.
Is a Jeepster the same thing? Is that a thing? A Jeepster?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Don't get me lying.
Yeah.
You can get me lying. It's all right.
There was a guy I used to know that he was into those things. He had a Challenger and a Satellite, and then he got rid of them, and then he was buying Jeepsters because this would have been mid-2000s or so, but he was saying like they're so cheap compared to the Jeep Wrangler type counterpart, you know, and they were a truck. They were like a truck back end, I guess. And like nobody wanted them back then. I don't know how desirable they are now.
They were more reminiscent of like a Willys or a pre CJ, I believe. I don't know. My Jeep history, I'm not too up on that, to be honest.
Okay. Hey Chris, your speaker is a little, I don't know, your mic's a little scratchy.
Is it?
Yeah. You know, like if it's not plugged in all the way or something. See.
Still scratchy or what?
Oh, hair.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
I might be getting some interference too.
Neighbors?
I was crying. Like my wife was looking at me like I had finally broken or something. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "You gotta watch this video." Like I wasn't ready. I was like, "Holy shit, Johnny did catch that audio," and then it just shows that guy in his chair, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, you probably should play that clip.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I was trying to record one of the bonus episodes last night. It was like 10 o'clock, and my neighbor, you know, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm a car guy too. And he was in his at first he was in his garage just revving something. It sounded like an ATV. And I was like, all right, you know, and then after about 5 to 10 minutes of that, he gets in his Subaru, starts that thing up. And those things are loud, and not as loud as like a muscle car, but they definitely can be heard. And and then just when I thought it was over, he starts his diesel truck, and I was just like, "You've got to be kidding me! How many cars is he trying to start right now?" It's like 10 o'clock at night, and there's kids all over the place. I mean, it woke my wife up because she was asleep. It got my dogs crazy. It was not fun, but I'll get my revenge. All right, let me see if I can find it here. Trying to make every time I share my screen, like nothing bad would come up, but I'm like, all right, let me just make sure there's. I'm not that stupid.
Some little self nudes or something.
full Burt Reynolds in front of his van.
Oh, that's funny.
Inside the van, on the bed.
There you go.
I think this one is safe. Let me see if I can get this on here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Trying not to see if I can minimize it here. There we go. I have multiple screens, and when it pops up, I always lose track of where the one I want is. There it is. Okay. Let's see if this even plays on here. I'm not quite sure what to expect. There is a little foul language in this. I apologize.
I'm over here trying to record a podcast, and this idiot next door with a Subaru STI keeps starting and revving his car. It's really starting to piss me off right here on a Saturday night, you know? Doesn't he know that I have important things to do? This is really starting to piss me off.
I cannot edit out the sound of a Subaru STI from the podcast. And it's really annoying the shit out of me right now. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I know I can pick it up on my mic loud and clear. I'm so pissed right now. I don't know what he's got going on in the garage, but he'll start the STI for a little bit, and then he'll go in his garage, and I don't know if it's a ATV or what, but he fires that thing up and revs the hell out of it, and my dog's so crazy. And then he shuts it off after about 5 minutes, and then he goes back out to the Subaru, starts it, and sits there, and now it's idling. What? Oh, no, excuse me. Now he started his Power Stroke diesel. Very cool. Really fucking up. Maybe I should go out there and start the Mr. Home truck. He's really sick on it. So annoyed right now.
Oh man!
And I know he doesn't know I'm recording a podcast up here, but fuck. You know, what is it, 10 o'clock? Come on, guy. You know what I mean?
Man, sometimes it just works out.
There.
Oh man, it was perfect.
Right, let's get back to it.
It was. I had seen a video before with like somebody making engine noises, like and I was like, let me see if I can find that. And that guy came up, the first guy came up, and I was like, oh, this is like too good. Then when I actually put it on the video and like started cutting him out, just having the sound and like Chris's facial expressions in between,
It lined up
gold.
perfectly.
It was gold, man.
It's good if my wife is like, that was hilarious. Like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff.
This seems to be a question that we get every once in a while, and it's asking about Ferraris. I think we've said it in the past. At least I have. I don't have a problem with them, especially if it's your entry. If it's your entry into Mopars, yeah, go for it. You definitely don't see them very often. I've seen more wing cars than Volare Roadrunners. Really?
Maddox loves them. He loves the Volare stuff.
They're cool cars. I mean, they are from if you know how much I complain about A bodies. I mean, those things are at least big bolt pattern and disc brakes up front right out of the gate. So the only problem with car, like in California, is the emissions. They're freaking choked down. They got vacuum lines everywhere. They're not good for California. If you were going to start off, you'd have to keep it absolutely bone stock in order to smog it and register it, drive it here. But if you're anywhere else in the country and you don't have those kind of hassles, I'd say, yeah, it's a good entry-level car. They're cheap. Get your foot in the door, V8s usually, and good tool around in something like that. Make it cool like the Roadrunner and the RT. Those two are kind of over the top, with their spoilers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what about the Richard Petty kit car one with the wide body, the fender flares on it? That's like ahead of its time.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're definitely cool cars. And I know for a while, I don't know if Chris Fields is going to be reproducing, since he got Schumacher. I know that they had some swap kits for those cars for like big blocks. I'm not sure if they did the modern Hemi stuff, but I'm sure that modern Hemi stuff is in the pipeline from somebody.
Yeah. I know. Last time I talked to him, I saw him because he had a car show at his shop a few weeks back, and I was asking him about it. And he's just got a lot of stuff on order. He's just like backed up, kind of that whole supply chain thing is affecting him as well. So
Yeah, that's. I'm just glad somebody got it, because I was kind of worried that company was priced a little too high. I know nobody would be willing to buy the intellectual properties, but sounds like it's going to stay alive, and that's always a good thing, because I know that I've had people reach out to me for those swap parts just because I'm in the Seattle area, and I'm like, I think he's selling his business. So
yeah, I think it's too bad, because I think, I mean, you can't. I don't know. I think he got into some medical issues or something, and
that's what
the business slipped. Yeah, and then it's like, you slip up a little bit like that, and then it could start hurting your reputation, And even myself, this was before Chris had bought it from him, but I'd ordered a torque strap from them, and it was like months going by, and it's like, what the hell, dude? I'm emailing the guy, and the guy would not freaking respond, which just pisses me off more. Last time I shot him an email, and I'm like, look, dude, just tell me, like, are you ripping me off? Because you're not responding. I've shot multiple emails. You're not responding to me. Like, you took my money. Like, if you're not going to give me my money back, just tell me you're going to rip me off so I could be, like, done, And then he's like, oh, sorry, I'm back order on some components. And he's like, I have a turquoise one. This is the part that attached to the K-member. I have a turquoise one, and or do you want? He's like, I got black ones coming on order. You want to wait? And I go, just send me the turquoise one. I'll freaking rattle can it or something. No big deal. But yeah, and I think Chris is having to kind of unravel a lot of that stuff, because I think there was some issues with the vendors and stuff like that too. So he's having to go through like get new vendors to make some of these parts. And I saw he did a post not too long ago. I think he's got the headers back up and going, the tri-Y headers, which I have a set on my Duster for big block. They're actually pretty awesome headers. They're small tubes, so if you're looking for big horsepower, it's not really the way to go. But if you're making like a street car and ease of fitment and stuff, those headers are pretty awesome. So
I'm a little bit more petty than you, Johnny. When I spent over $1,000 on headers and the mount kit for the big block in my Dart, I was under the impression that I was going to get a free T-shirt, and I didn't. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, man, sub that shirt. And then he sent me a shirt that it said engineswaps.com or whatever on the back, and on the front it says size does matter.
Well, cool. I didn't get a shirt with my head.
In the chat. Oh, what do we have here? Oh, this is a question that I'll entertain. Sean says, do you think non-turbo 84 to 93 Daytonas will ever be desirable? Depends on who you talk to. They are desirable right now. Especially for guys who have turbo ones like me. I have a couple of turbo Daytonas, and the non-turbos make perfect parts cars. Or if you want to get crazy and, there's other things you can do with them, convert them to rear-wheel drive. I love those cars with swaps. I know a lot of people back in the day were V8 swapping them, and there was a really cool one at Moparty that was like a full-on drag car. That thing was wicked. I love that car.
I got some pictures of it.
Yeah,
I'll post them
think
to
they're
the
desirable.
page.
Yeah, they're definitely not as desirable as a lot of Mopars, obviously, but the Daytonas, I think, and so many of them got lost to the wrecking yard, much like many other Mopars that we love. Vans, those were just scrapped like there was no tomorrow. And every time a Daytona comes in one of the local yards here, I get very, very excited. But for some reason, it seems like you would think that if a Daytona came to a local pick and pull, that nobody's got one around here. So, I mean, it should be ripe for the picking. Every time I get out there, they're like, these jerks smash windows and like break tail lights and stuff. And I'm like, man, we just leave shit alone. You know what I mean? They steal the emblems, things like that. But I do love front wheel drive Mopars from the 80s.
That's saying that me with my 89 Daytona turbo.
Yeah.
I'm kind of itching to do something to it now that we've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah. He should.
Like, I don't know.
Like rear wheel drive with it.
I mean, we're probably gonna have to just for what we're wanting to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Johnny, how do you feel about the 80s Mopars?
Well, I mean those cars were like right in the thick of my era, you know.
Yeah.
Like that was me, high school and getting out of high school and stuff. I mean, I liked them. During that time, I was always upset because it's like if you look at the Camaros from that era, they're very similar to the Daytona, right? They have very similar, sharp angles and stuff. And I was like, why couldn't they just make the Daytona a little bit bigger and put a freaking V8 in it, and rear wheel drive? If they had done that, I would have been stoked. But they're cool cars, and I love them when they're converted into drag cars. I mean, I wouldn't even keep one front wheel drive. If I had the money and the time and the effort, all that bullshit would come out. It'd get back halved, and it would have a V8 under the hood and be rear wheel drive. That would be, for me, what I would want. Darrell Alderman was the man back in the day, late 80s, early 90s. So it's like that's the shit for me. Big fat tires.
Anytime you look up Daytona drag car, his car is gonna pop up.
Absolutely, yeah.
You take Daytona and you put it next to 80 box body Mustang, they're pretty much the same size. So that's why I don't get why. I mean, I get why they did the front wheel drive, because they were like trying to build a sporty econo box because they were worried about fuel mileage back in the 80s. But I think they just said they should have said screw it. They had enough front wheel drive cars. You know what I mean? They should have said screw it. We're going to build a rear wheel drive car. Throw a 5.2 in it, a little 318. You know what I mean? That car, I guarantee they would have sold more Daytonas if they were rear wheel drive V8 cars, and there would probably be a lot of them on the road today battling, because I mean, you watch street racing on YouTube, and there's always a box body. You know what I mean? Because they're so light. I drove my buddy back in the day, just out of high school. He had a notchback Fox body. I forget the year. It had a 4 and a 5-speed, and he's like, "Hey, can you drive?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I'm driving this thing, and it was fun. I was like, "Wow, these things are light." I'd never driven a Mustang. I didn't know what to expect, but even with the 4-cylinder, it was fun. Yeah. So I could only imagine what a Daytona with a V8 and a 5-speed would have been like. So that's where I think Chrysler missed the mark on that one.
No, it definitely did. I mean, there was a lot of shit going on. I mean, Lee Iacocca was the middle of saving Chrysler, and everything was going, K cars, front wheel drive, and it was like that was the performance line. But I wish they had made it it's like, if you want to do an economy version, fine, put a 4-cylinder in it, still make it rear wheel drive, but do a hypo version and put a V8 in there. And, I think it would have been a big sell if they had done it. And, a lot of guys, like he talked to a lot of guys from that era. There was a guy I knew that had one. And to my surprise, like I started talking about one, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I had one of those." He's like, "Those cars are fast." Everybody's surprised how fast they were as a front wheel drive turbo car. And they freaking hauled ass, for what they were, for being a little 4-banger and stuff. They actually kicked ass. But I mean, my roots were more into the V8s and rear wheel drive cars. And, I think it would have been a better transition if they made it a rear wheel drive. Even like you said, like leave it small, make it like a Mustang size car. I mean, obviously you could stuff a V8 in them. The drag guys were doing it forever, So
yeah, those cars. The biggest, speaking on the front wheel drive turbo stuff, the biggest downfall of those cars is the turbo leg. My dad was telling me a story back when he had his 85. He's at a light, and like an 83 Honda Prelude rolls up next to him, and he's like, "Oh shit, here we go." And off the line, the Honda Prelude said, "Phew, gone." And I was like, "Damn, Dad, why'd you tell me this story?" But yeah, turbo leg was a bitch. But yeah, so Daytonas, they're cool in my book. Side Road, Happy Holidays. Happy holidays to everybody. I was actually thinking, so my wife and I have a tradition on Christmas Eve where we put together our daughter's toys and stuff and maybe have a couple drinks. If she goes to bed early, I'm sure you guys are busy, but I'm thinking about doing an impromptu Christmas Eve live for a little bit. So if you guys get bored and you see me pop up there, feel free to join.
All right. Sounds
Right on.
good.
So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it'd be fun. Sean, I didn't know you had turbo Daytonas. I've got a 92 Daytona ES 3-liter auto. I did drive to work. Yeah. My dad had a new 85 and I grew up pretty much riding around in it. So those cars have hold a special place for me. And my dad, once I started doing the Mopar Hunter thing and then the podcast started, my dad just started buying up these cars. And one of them, I actually found one. It was a 87. It was a red 87 Shelby Z for $600. And what had happened was the guy blew the head gasket in it, took it to a shop to have it repaired, and on the way home he blew the head gasket again, and it parked it in a storage unit. It's in pretty decent condition considering its age. So we did get another 2.2 turbo engine that had been sitting on a rack in this wrecking yard across the Puget Sound from us, like a 3-hour road trip over there. And the guy's like, yeah, this thing's been sitting here for years. I'm like, all right, well, hopefully everything tested out good. It still had the tag that said compression was good. Everything looked good. So we're going to give that a shot. So that's one of them. And then my dad sees on, I think it was Facebook, I think, on Marketplace, this 87 Shelby CSX pops up, and those cars are numbered. And it's $180. And my dad was like, huh? He's like, I'll buy this thing. Receipt first in line. Boom. He went and got that thing. $180 Shelby CSX. The guy had torn it apart, but it has all the parts. And then in another deal, my dad bought for $400. He got an 84 Dodge Daytona Turbo Z and a blue 87 Shelby Z. So the red's technically mine, and we're both going to kind of work on this CSX together. The 84 is his, and the 87, we got special plans for that. Maybe send it to Louisiana or something. I'm not sure yet, but that would be pretty cool. And then my dad also has 2 other Daytonas. He's got an 87 Pacifica. So it's an automatic, but the thing's got 30,000 original miles on it. It is a cream puff. I wish it was a Shelby Z because it's black. So he's got that one. And then he's got an 86 Dodge Daytona. It's the CS, the competition series, that's black with the gold wheels and the gold pinstripe, T-tops, black leather. Definitely a cool 80s car. I don't talk about them much just because I don't have them like in my possession. But the red Shelby is going to be coming home with me eventually. But I've got another project I gotta haul home first, and I think that's going to happen sooner than I expected.
That's exciting.
But yeah. The 92 Daytonas, my favorite years of the Daytonas were like the 89 to, I think the new style started in 92. I think it's 89 to like 91. I really like the Shelbys from there because they had the more refined, they look smoother on the outside. They weren't as like sharp. I don't know. That's a good way of explaining it. When they changed the dashes, I wasn't too thrilled. Maybe it's because, I don't know. I felt they were a little bit too Mitsubishi for me. I liked the dashes in the 80s cars better, but they're all cool. I mean, I wouldn't say no to a really clean one. And if I could find an IROC RT, those things back in the day, the 93, I think they were 93s, 92, 93 Daytona IROC RTs had like an engine that was, I think the cylinder head was built by Lotus or something like that. I got to do some more research on it. But they did 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, and for the early 90s, for a front-wheel drive car, that's pretty snappy. You know, those cars are nothing to laugh at. Pretty quick. I'll probably be doing an episode on all the crazy front-wheel drive turbo cars that Chrysler was messing with that all had pretty impressive 0 to 60 times. You know, you have the Spirit RT and a bunch of other fun cars. So we'll talk about those at some point.
You know what I really liked was the Chrysler Conquest. The Chrysler Conquest was a bitchin' car. Yeah, rear-wheel drive.
It's funny. Yeah, exactly.
And the wide body they did on that, like the first year was, the first year was ugly, but when they did the bulged, wheel wells, oh, freaking A, man. Those cars were so nice.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Mitsubishi thing, I think they would have gotten a lot more love from Mopar guys. Hardcore Mopar guys, like, F those things. You know what I mean? But I've seen them with all sorts of V8s. I've seen them with Ford 351s. A guy I know, actually, he was a friend of my cousin. So we were at this little automotive shop or repair shop, and I got in my car and I heard a V8, right? And I look over, and this it was a Starion. It was a Mitsubishi Starion, I believe. Same car. The Starion pulls up, and it's just rumbling the ground. And I was like, what in the hell is going on here? And he pulls in, and I'm like, hey, dude, you got a V8 in that thing? And he goes, yeah, it's a Ford 351. I was like, holy shit. And he's like, yeah, for torque straps, he had to use chains. He's like, I had to chain this thing. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, this thing is nasty. It looked a little hodgepodge, but it sounded nasty. But definitely there was SEMA that was pretty badass. I don't know if it was swapped, but if it was, I'd imagine it had an LS in it. He did not have the hood open, so that would be my guess. But it was a little too wild for me. But I've seen some. I would like just a clean looking Conquest or Starion. I guess I'd be open minded, but just a looking stock, but having a V8 like a Hemi swap in it, that would be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Plymouth Laser Turbo. Good luck on finding a clean one of those. I haven't seen a clean Laser Turbo in a long, long time. It's like the I know someone that has a Chrysler Laser. Those are like the Daytonas, but I believe you're talking about Laser that is more reminiscent of Mitsubishi Eclipse. Jonny Mopar deals of the 1980s car. Yeah, I don't talk about him much because Johnny will always one up me, so there's no point. Yeah, that was a big problem with those Starions and the Conquests, were the Mitsubishi V8s. I believe they had these pieces of shit 2.6 liter Mitsubishi 4 cylinders, and they were just garbage. It's too bad too, because that car had a lot of potential, and it's like what the Daytona should have been, rear wheel drive, you know?
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I think those cars were like the number one stolen car in all of the United States back in the 90s. I remember seeing somewhere like and it was mostly like Honda Civics and stuff that were the high theft cars. But that car was number one on the list. And I must be because they were just so easy to steal. I don't know for sure, but I think back then you could just take a screwdriver.
Yeah. They were like ahead of their time, with all the electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
Chrysler was definitely like, they had the talking cars, the electronic dashboards. Which every time I go to the wrecking yard and I see a Daytona, I hope that it has the computer that talks to you and the digital dash, because I want one, and they're super hard to find. If I get that, that would be nice. But
back in the 90s, when I was going to the junkyard, pretty much all the 90s and early 2000s. Like Daytonas and I don't know, all those K cars. The boneyard was full of those cars, man. They just went to the crusher in droves. It's pretty wild.
The one cool thing about some of them, cool thing about some of them is that I know that LeBarons, certain years of LeBarons had the what Chrysler called the enthusiast seats, which were like the super fancy leather seats with the power seat controls on the lower lumbar or the lower portion of the seat. And sometimes, because most of the people that drove LeBarons were, let's face it, elderly or older folks that really took care of their stuff. So the biggest shame in it is you'll go and you'll find a really nice seat, but you can tell that it's been sitting in this wrecking yard for a couple months and it's already got mold and mildew on it, or people have laid parts on it and put holes in them. It pisses me off too. I'm like, no, why did you do that? Because I needed a couple seats for my Daytona.
There's a guy up the street that has one of those. It's a Maserati. It's basically the Chrysler Baron, but it's the Maserati version of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. Does
I was
that
just,
have a different engine, or is it the same motor as the LeBaron?
I believe it has because that was like a joint effort with Maserati. So I'm trying to remember all the information on it. It's like the TC. They call it the TC, and it's branded as a Maserati car. And it's funny. I was just talking about this. I think I mentioned it on my podcast last night because I was talking about the Dodge Viper, and when the Viper was coming out, they almost didn't want to spend I think it was 70 million to get the Viper into production. And what was funny was that TC, that car, failed so miserably that I believe it was Bob Lutz was scared to like go into another crazy venture like that. But they pulled the trigger on the Viper because it had such a crazy response from the public when it was shown at, I think it was like the Chicago Auto Show. People were just blown away with that concept car. And so Chrysler pretty much had no choice but to produce it. And when you think like 70 million sounds like a shitload of money, but considering of what they were going to build, and they really didn't have anything. I mean, you had the Daytonas and whatnot, but by 92, 93, they were starting to die out. And then they really didn't have much in the way of sports cars, so they come out with the craziest American sports car, ever made, because all of the real competition for that car at the time was the Corvette, not including Italian exotics and things like that. But it was kind of the Viper, man. God,
it was like it was viewed as sort of a Cobra, a Shelby Cobra, but in modern time, there was really nothing else like it in that time.
No. What a cool car. I think I told this story once, but I was at a taco time with my dad, and I was super young when they came out. I think I was 7 years old. I was at a taco time in Seattle with my dad, and a green Honda Del Sol pulled into the parking lot. And I go, look, Dad, a Viper. And it was one of the only times I've ever seen my dad look at me disappointed and like make me feel like a moron. He's like, that's not a Viper. And I was like, oh, sorry. And looking back, I probably would have did the same thing. Like, get out of here. Get out of here, kid. You're not mine.
Shit.
But yeah, that's a funny little story about me and the Viper. Or the Honda Del Sol, I should say. But Viper, it's a poster car. I would love to have one. I don't think I can leave this earth without at least owning one time. Because any time that people talk about a car that feels like it's trying to kill you must be fun to drive. I hear that every magazine review or everyone you talk to that has a Viper say this thing's like it's trying to kill you. So I'm like, okay, now I'm curious. You know what I mean?
What was it? Top Gear. Did you ever see the Top Gear where they turned they had Tanner, I think it was Tanner Faust was the host, the drift guy. They turned him loose in a town, and the whole objective was to stay away from an Apache attack helicopter.
Oh wow!
And he had three chances to get away, and they just turned him loose in this shut down town in a Viper, getting chased by an Apache.
Did he get away?
Oh God, no! I mean, it's an Apache, but I mean, it was damn good television to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Awesome.
I wrote that down. Yeah, sometimes there's been periods of time, I should say, where I've just gone on YouTube and gone down rabbit holes of people with Vipers and doing reviews on Vipers, and like, I love the videos that are like, I bought the world's cheapest insert ridiculous car here. Yeah. I always get lost in those YouTube videos just because I'm like, how much did you pay for that thing? And they're usually shit boxes. But yeah.
What was that Canadian guy that built a 70 CUDA out of one? Like it was a V10 Viper turbocharged, and he took it against like a F40 Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari. You've seen that?
I have not seen that one either.
Oh my God. There's this Canadian car builder. He had his own TV show, but he built a 70 CUDA. Pretty sure it's 70. It might have been a 71, but I'm pretty sure it was a 70. It's like green. It looks I believe it was Viper Green, but he took all the drivetrain out of a Viper and put it in this car to see which would go faster. It was pretty funny because he was like, I think the Ferrari went, I want to say it was like 200 miles an hour or something like that. And he said in the CUDA, because in the CUDA, he actually, the chrome trim popped out because the wind pressure was so high. So they had to tape all the seams around the car. They took it out again. And I think he got it up around 180 or 190. And he said the car still had more, but he didn't have the balls to take it that high because the car had so much.
Wow.
It's not like a Ferrari where it's so aerodynamic, you know, the car is not very aerodynamic in comparison, but it definitely made the power. God, I gotta look that up. See if I can find that.
The crazy thing about something like that is you have to understand that the amount of engineering that Ferrari puts into their vehicles to have a car builder, you know, and this isn't taking anything away from car builders, but they don't have a team of engineers, you know what I mean,
right,
to help them engineer this car to be able to handle high speeds like that. And the fact that he built that car to be able to you know, produce results like that is insane. That's crazy.
Sorry. Okay, if you look up Super CUDA 208 miles per hour versus Ferrari Enzo on YouTube, you'll find it.
Okay.
Super CUDA 208 miles per hour.
Wow.
So I was wrong. I guess he took it to 208 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I saw the video, but it is fucking phenomenal. I mean, and they took it on a big, like a NASCAR racetrack, like, you know, big banks on, you know, to get up to that high speed. I don't think it was NASCAR. I think it was a test track or something like that somewhere, but just insane. Wow. It's awesome to watch.
When are we going to start a parts swapper section of the Facebook page? Here's why I didn't start that, because I started the MCOM page, and when I created it, I didn't want it to be a parts page because those always get spammed, and there's so many of them that I thought, the best thing to do would be to just go into, I think you can go into the discussion area of the Motley Crew and just post in there. I believe you can do that. I would have to look when I'm not logged in as the admin, but you should be able to post just in the general feed, and you can post whatever you want. It just it won't be something that you can, because what people do is they'll post on Facebook Marketplace, and then you can choose like a shitload of different groups to repost that post in. So I see all sorts of stuff come through my other for sale page, and it gets clogged up and it's hard to admin. The MCOM page is just so that we can share all of our content. But if you really want to post something, we can work something out. Larry says, anyone want a nice 74 satellite custom wagon, 73,000 original miles, no rust or dents, 318 tow package, daily driver? I mean, do I? Probably not. That's only because I have other projects lined up right now. A 74 satellite custom wagon. I know Johnny's got a lot of wagons, and wagons are hot right now, dude. So there is a, what page is that? There's a group. I think it might be Mopar 4-door drivers or something like that. But I would imagine you could post it in there or share it on one of the, there's got to be a wagon page too, a Mopar wagon page. There has to be. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. But there's definitely a market for those things with certain folks.
I mean, I want it, but I have too much shit going on. So, but Larry, where are you and how much do you want for it? Just out of curiosity, in case somebody's watching this. Dude, my buddy John Jones, I've mentioned him before. He took a satellite, or I think it was a Cornet wagon, maybe like a 71 or 72, and he put a 72 Charger front clip on it. He had a buddy that started the build, and the fenders on a Charger do not line up with the Cornet, that generation.
Yeah.
So he had to cut the fenders in half, and I think it was the top half of the Charger fenders with the bottom sides of the wagon fenders, and he welded them together to make the car flow into each other. So this thing was freaking awesome because it had the, like 72 Charger grill, hideaway headlights with the wraparound bumper and stuff. And he had a bulge hood on it. And then it just flowed into the wagon from there. And it looks so freaking perfect. Like, I couldn't believe how good it looked, because conceptually, if I had tried to sell you guys verbally on this, idea, you'd say, no, this doesn't sound like it's going to work. But he actually had it sitting there.
Wow.
And man, for the longest time, I always thought about asking John if he'd want to sell it. And, between different houses, not having the space, not having the money or whatever, one day I go over there and the car is gone. And I'm like, what happened to the Charger wagon? And he goes, oh, I crushed it. I didn't do anything with it. And I needed to get rid of it for space. And I'm just like, why didn't I ask? Why didn't I ask? And actually, because of that, that's why I told him, like, I don't know how many years ago, I told him about the 70 Coronet wagon that I got from him. I planted the seed back then. If you ever get rid of the 70 wagon, be sure you let me know. So I don't know, it's been like 7, 8, 10 years went by, and he finally said, do you want that wagon still? I was surprised he even remembered. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want that wagon. So
Man,
I got the 70 Coronet
that's
wagon.
cool.
Yeah, at least.
I'm curious to see what your plans are for the wagons, dude. What do you got planned for them?
So for the 70, nothing's planned yet. When I get to it, it's probably just dropping a drivetrain in it and rolling it. But for the 69, it's really close. I mean, it runs, but the floors are very rusty on that car. So I really need to patch the floors, and I just don't have the time and bandwidth right now. I thought about buying the patches and then just dropping them in over the rusty floors just to get me by. So that's a possibility. And then I just want to roll it. I want to leave. The rear end is leaking. When I took it into the muffler shop, it was dripping on the trailer. It's got an 8 1/4 in it. So I need to pop that thing out. I have an 8 3/4 B body I can put in there. So I need to go through that rear end, put it in the car, do the floors, and then I think I can roll it, So I'm pretty excited about it once I can get to it, because I really want that car to be like my tall gear highway car that I can go long distances with,
Sure.
And, not be limited to, I don't know, around the house or, because the gas mileage is so bad or the gears are so low or whatnot, So
Yeah, wagons, dude. Those are a hell of an investment right now, Johnny. I think you're sitting on a little mini gold mine too. If you ever decided, hey, you know what, I don't have time for wagons, I think you're going to come up on those pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times where, I don't know, dude, it's funny because, I mean, I've been into them just because I like them, but like the Chargers, the 2nd-gen Chargers, I mean, they've always been popular, but back in my day, they were still attainable and really cheap. And, me snatching them all up, I was kind of like way ahead, probably like 20 years ahead of everybody else, like seeing what I was seeing, And then, of course, when I started letting some of them go, I let them go probably, I don't know, 10 years too soon. I'd be a millionaire now if I had freaking kept them this long.
Gosh.
But at least I have a few. But yeah, I think you're right on the wagons. You never see them. You do not see them at all anymore. They are completely gone. You never see them on the road. I mean, I've seen a few in the boneyards back in the day, but to be honest with you, other than maybe a kid, which I just wouldn't remember seeing them or paying attention to them, But aside from that, through the 90s and stuff, I don't even remember seeing any on the road back then,
Yeah.
They were just
yeah. I know that the Coronet, the Hellcat swap Coronet 9-passenger wagon at Mopar is going to definitely inspire some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right, fellas, I got to step off.
Ervin's in the house.
All right,
taking
Matt.
off. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I
Thanks
head
for
out,
joining
guys.
us, dude.
Absolutely. I'll see y'all later.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later. We're probably gonna shut it down here soon anyway. Later, bud.
See ya.
But until we shut her down, we've got Ervin in the house. What's up, buddy?
Hey, brother. I have a day off. I had the Sunday off, so as soon as I saw you guys on, I was like, dude. But you guys caught me on a cruise. I just finished cruising. I'm outside my job right now, but the shop's closed, so we have everything closed. So I'm outside. So earlier the connection was a little shitty and I couldn't connect. But I'm out here in the car. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we can hear it.
But yeah, man, just been chilling all day.
Sweet. So you just
Right
been
on.
rolling the Charger around, cruising?
Yeah, dude, got to take advantage of this weather because earlier in the week, I'm sure you, Johnny, you seen how wet it was.
Actually, I've been in Minnesota all last week.
Really?
I was in Minnesota, so it was like snowy, cold, wet. But I did get a Charger or a Challenger for a rental car, so that was an RT. That was pretty nice. I couldn't do anything with it. I was actually really afraid of, not being able to drive on those very icy, wet surfaces. And there was a few times just leaving lightly on the throttle. It's like those cars do not really lean into the power very well. Like they just kind of go off and on. It's just like bam. So it was just like, But bitching car, definitely a bitching car.
Oh, that's nice. That's good, man. Damn. It was raining like a couple of days ago. We had some heavy rain. And then the next day, or I want to say Thursday, it wasn't rain, but it was just kind of like that mist all day, and the roads were just completely wet. And it was like, it wasn't safe to even drive at high speeds or anything. Like you had to be really careful and watch what throttle you had it on, because it was like that. But today it's nice and sunny, and it's Cali weather, so I decided just, take the car out, just drive for a bit, windows down, sunroof open, and just enjoy life, brother.
Right on.
Yeah.
We got a question in the chat. Let's see what you guys think about this one. What's your favorite movie car? And Sean says any answer but the Bullet Charger is the wrong answer. I have a different one, but I'll let you guys go first.
Movie car?
Movie
Ervin, I'll
Mopar.
let you go first. Huh? Movie Mopar.
Has to be a Mopar, yeah. That's a tough one.
He's trying not to say the Charger from Fast and the Furious.
I was gonna say Charger from Joe Dirt.
Yes, there you go. Nice. All right. Ervin's is the Joe Dirt Daytona. That's awesome. Definitely one of my favorites.
One of my favorite movies is the old original Cannonball, not Cannonball Run, but Cannonball. There's with what's his name, Carradine, the kung fu guy.
Carradine.
Yeah, Carradine.
Yeah.
He
David
did the
Carradine,
first.
is it?
David Carradine. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Cannonball, and it was like back from the late 70s, and there was I believe it was a 68 Dodge Charger in there as the bad guy car. So
What?
that would have to be my favorite. Without saying Dukes Hazard. Huh?
What's up?
No, go for it, Chris.
Mine really isn't like a featured Mopar, but it was definitely in the movie and had a prominent scene, and that was Big Willie's 69 Daytona in the opening scene of two-lane blacktop. They had the International Brotherhood of Street Racers in this scene, and the first one of the first cars you see is Big Willie's Charger Daytona, and I believe he was either doing a burnout or he was like launching off the line, and they were racing on the street. Super cool. And I knew that when I first saw the movie, I had already started learning about Mopar history and stuff, so I knew that the Charger looked familiar, and you can see them wearing the International Brotherhood of Street Racers vests. So that to me, that is the coolest Mopar movie history because it was real and it wasn't built or bought specifically for whatever movie it was in, like the Fast and Furious Chargers or the General Lees or anything like that. That car was a car that was already very well known and kind of locally famous in California. And they gave him a little quick spot in a movie. So that will probably always be one of my favorites. If not, probably my favorite.
Mm.
Christine.
Oh, shit.
There's Christine.
Christine's a good one. Definitely.
Uh-oh. Johnny, Dennis is trying to call you, buddy.
Oh. Yeah, I saw you called. I didn't answer because I was on this. I'll call you back.
Chris.
So how do you,
Hey, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you share something like share? You have to share screen to share a picture of something.
I think so. Do you guys have the same option I do at the bottom for sharing, or
yeah,
no?
It says share screen. All right,
Yeah. So
I'm
if
gonna
you
try
click on, if you click on that, you should be able to see what you would be sharing on screen.
see screen share. 200.
Sean says that the white Daytona Big Willie race was restored 5 miles from where I live. That's awesome.
That's a fun fact right there.
Yes. I want one of the 1/18 scale replicas of his car, but it's like $500 on eBay, and I just can't justify that price. I would love to see that car in person. Oh,
Hey, Chris, quick question.
what's up, buddy?
I don't know if it was in your podcast, but were you the one that mentioned that all the well, not the Chargers, but the first Charger in the first movie of Fast and the Furious, it was a prop, right? It didn't have that blower. It wasn't even a Hemi. It was all a prop. It was all messed up.
So the first time you see the car in the garage,
Right.
it
Right.
does have a real Hemi in it, but it's a first generation Hemi, not the second generation. But it does have a blown Hemi in it. From what I understand, they put that engine in the car specifically for that close-up shot, and as that scene was recorded, they yanked it out.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw Fast and Furious 9, I think it was, the most recent one. And they were doing a lot of like throwback stuff, kind of tying stuff together. And I remember there was like a 392 Hemi, blown 392 Hemi there, which was like, okay, that's the engine that was in that 70 Charger, you know? So it's kind of cool that they did that. Yeah. And then there was just a wedge, 440 wedge, I guess, like he was wrenching on it. And it was in the background of one of the earlier Fast and Furiouses. So it was pretty cool. I don't know if I did it right, but I did do like try to screen share a wagon. Can you see anything on your end, Chris?
I cannot see anything I can't see anything on my screen, but my feed has been lagging a lot, so I don't know how much of what I've been saying has been getting caught and glitching out. But we're probably going to get going here in a couple minutes anyway. I don't see anything, Johnny.
Okay. I don't know how to, it looks like it's showing next to, well, let's see. Sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
there's
wait,
like
I got something here. Hold on.
Okay. There you go. There it is.
There you go. Nice.
Ooh.
That's a badass wagon.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina.
People with Mopars, it seems to me like people like you either have to have an E body or a two-door B body to have fun with Mopars, and that's absolutely not true. Look at that wagon. That thing is sick.
Yeah.
That thing's nice.
I would drive the hell out of that thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that thing, man. 68 Cornet wagon. I think it's in Europe, if I remember right. The plates were European, so somebody in Europe has it now.
Wow, perfect patina on it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's another thing that's not mentioned enough when it comes to Mopars, and that's that. Name another American car manufacturer where the wagon resembled any of their muscle cars. I can't think of any.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
The Chevelle, they did with the Chevelles. They had a Chevelle
Oh, yeah,
wagon.
that's right. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right with the Chevelle wagon. This is still more badass than that.
Oh, for sure.
All I can think
Yeah, I
about is
completely
the
forgot about the Chevelle wagon.
Caprice. Didn't Chevy Caprice have a
Yeah.
wagon as well?
They did.
Yeah. That would be
I
like
think you could get
90s, right?
Oh, never mind. That is a nice.
yeah. But back in the late '60s, Johnny's right. Only the Chevelle or Malibu wagons.
Yeah.
But these still look better in my opinion. Gosh, yeah, that's how
I agree.
insignificant those Chevelles are. I didn't even remember those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, B-body wagons, man. That's just so freaking sweet. I love that car.
Yeah, Johnny's got one too. So yours could look just like that, Johnny.
Yeah, mine's not quite patinaed. Mine has got a repaint on it. It looks like it was originally white. Somebody painted it yellow, and then they painted it white again, so it doesn't have any of the breakthrough. It's got legit rust in the bottom of the doors and the floors.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
Do you have the rack on the roof?
mine is not a roof rack. So that one right there is a 440 model. The 500 model, I believe, also came with the rack, but mine is a deluxe, which is the bottom of the line. It did not come with roof rack, but I do have a roof rack. So I'm thinking about putting it on there. Yeah. A guy was parting out a Plymouth B-body, and I went to buy parts off of it for something. I can't remember what now, but I think it was the doors for another 68 Cornet wagon that I got from my buddy John Jones for a while. Long story short, gave the car back to him, but I got the roof rack from that parts car, and I was like, yeah, you can't find those things. Dude, those things go for a mint. Those roof racks on those wagons, they're probably worth more than the rest of the car. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. It's freaking
Crazy.
Wild.
What a good God! The lines on that wagon are so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Those just they look perfect to me. I mean, just wagon and like the 68 to 70 B bodies are just they're not quite square. They're kind of square but smooth, and of course B bodies in my view, they're like the perfect size car. But as a wagon, it's perfection, man. I've seen a lot of guys will put the Super B hoods on them with the dual scoops, but what I wanted to do to mine was put the bulge hood on it, like the Super B. It's just a small bump, so it's kind of not so in your face, a little more subtle, which I think would look perfect on a car like that.
Hey Johnny, what wheels are those right there on the wagon? Are they like those American Racing?
Yeah, those are American Racing wheels. Those are probably like 17s, if I had to guess. They're a little bit bigger than 15s. Low profile tires on it.
Those look like
they look thick on that car, dude.
Yeah.
They look good.
Oh, yeah. They set the car off. I mean, that just looks perfect. I'd roll that car all day long.
Wagons just look so good when they're slammed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I agree on that one too. They do look different. They there's no other car out there that just looks the same when it's lowered like that.
Well, all B bodies look good low, but yeah, wagons especially. I'll definitely be dropping the ass on mine when I get the rear end all swapped out and everything. It's going to be low.
Yeah,
so should be fun.
Hey, very quick. There's a Chrysler that's a 2-door. I might be wrong, but it's I want to say a Crossfire, the Chrysler Crossfire.
Mm-hmm.
I seen one with a 5.7 Hemi swap, and I was just like,
really,
I was tripping because that's something that Dodge, or should I say Chrysler, should have done. When they released that car, I'm sure that car just died out. It wasn't selling. Nobody liked it. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I don't know exactly the engine that it had originally. I know it was a V6 or maybe a 2.4. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure. But I looked up a video after seeing a short clip of a 5.7 Hemi swapped, and man, dude, that thing pulls. And you think about the body of that car; it's very light as it is. with 5.7 in it. It sounds mean, dude. I mean, it's just like it's like Chris said about the Prowler. If it wasn't released then and it was released now, a lot of people would probably enjoy it better, or not enjoy it better, but they would appreciate it more.
I don't understand the marketing of these guys. It's like these guys got their head so far up their ass or something like that. Like they just don't understand the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you throw millions of dollars into designing these cars. Like the Crossfire is a very good looking car on the front end. I think the tail end of it is nasty. But yeah, I mean, this V6 in there, it's like if they put a V8 in there, it'd be a badass car. And the same thing with the Prowler. Prowler would be a badass car if it had a V8 in it, It's like, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah. And even with the history of Chrysler, they should have, if you're going to put a V6 in it, at least turbocharge it. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
But the problem with, especially the Crossfire, was all the Mercedes DNA that's in that car. That's a big problem with those things.
Especially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But hopefully, this news about the Hemis going bye-bye is really disheartening for me. I think they're making a huge mistake getting rid of the Hemis, and
I think they are too.
It's
I think
huge mistake.
If you're gonna go, you want to push electric. I mean, I think that's fine. Go ahead and try it, do it, but do it in parallel. Like to go ahead and I don't know, cut off the freaking one of the baddest freaking platforms you guys have ever come up with, and announce you're gonna kill it. And if you listen to like what Uncle Tony was talking about, which I think he's onto something. I think that they are gonna. I think bringing back the direct connection name is a ploy into the electric cars, DC. And they've already talked about and given hints that they're coming out with a electric car. It's all fine. I don't really have anything against it, but I would do them in parallel. It's like if they don't take off quite like you had hoped, at least keep your high performance line going along, and see what happens. Because I think there's going to be a lot of guys. It's going to take a while to get guys convinced, especially the older guys, convinced that electric performance cars are the way to go. I think even if that was the norm today, I mean, honestly, like at a drag strip, I don't have anything against electric cars, but I don't want to see them racing gas-driven cars. Like they should be just different classes. Put all the electric cars together and run. Put all your gas engine cars together and run. And even if the gas engine cars were slower, just hearing the thump of the explosions coming out of all of the cylinders is like, to me, that's what it's all about. It's like, why do Harleys sound the way they sound? It's part of what they are. You could put a muffler on those things and make them sound like a freaking Honda and they'll be quiet as hell. But do you think anybody will buy them? Probably not. There's a reason they do it. Yeah.
It just seems to me like they are going to kill off the enthusiast movement that they worked so hard to build. It seems like it hasn't even reached its peak yet. And now they're like, all right, we're going to take everything you guys love away. I think it's going to backfire on them.
I think so too. I think they're trying to force feed you. I think what they're trying to do is they're going to cut you off, not give you an option. It's like they had their way. They just want to cut you off all the high performance gasoline cars and force feed you electric performance cars, And it's like, yeah, like I said, I don't have any problem against the electric cars, but it's not what I want. I'd rather have a gas driven car. And when we don't have gas pumps anymore and stuff like that, then fine, then I'll drive the electric car. But I don't know. I'm not ready to make the leap of faith right now.
No, absolutely not. I'm totally open for them to build an electric muscle car, but for God's sakes, don't take away the Hellcats or any of the Hemis and replace them with turbocharged V6s. Why? Why are they doing that to us? I don't know. I think it's going to backfire. I hope it doesn't. Once I started hearing the concrete evidence that they were they were really going to do that, I had really wanted to campaign to be this chief donut maker guy, but I don't know if I could sit there if they were telling me, hey man, you gotta be on board with all this electric stuff and the Hemis are going away. I don't know if I would be able to sit there with a straight face and not go, are you guys out of your fucking minds? I couldn't. There's no way. So I think that dream for me is dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's like at work. I mean, I'm just a small technician where I work, and it's like all these decisions made by people that make a lot more money than I do. It's just, I don't know where they come up with this shit. You know, it's like they just want it faster, sooner, and no resources to do it, and it costs no money. And it's like, just seems like there's no common sense. There's such a huge disconnect between the people calling the shots and the people doing the work. And this feels a lot like that. Like some freaking guy that, you know, the CEO or somebody high in the ranks has decided electric cars are the way to go. They are the wave of the future, and we want to get in front of that. And it's like, but you guys aren't connected with the grassroots people, the guys that are buying the Hellcats, and they're buying the RTs, and they're buying the Scat Packs, the guys that have kept the company alive for the last, you know, whatever, 15 years or so, you know, with all of this new modern high performance enthusiasm and stuff. It's like, you guys are going to pull the carpet right out from underneath them, you know, and you're just basically, what you're saying is, oh, well, fuck you. You know, tough shit. Yeah. Here's an electric car, buy it. You know, and it's like, I don't know, that kind of turns me off.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's going to be really hard for them. I don't think they understand what they're about to do. And maybe that's why we've gotten such cool shit the past few years, because they knew that it was all going to go bye. So they're like, oh, let's just give it one last hoorah and hopefully they don't hate us. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, how could you do that? How could you build the most badass American muscle cars from the modern era and then just pull the rug out from under everybody? You know?
I don't know. I mean, usually these decisions are made because of money, you know, and it's like, if the sales were suffering, then it's like, I mean, they probably wouldn't even plan on, you know, ending the line of the cars 2 years from now. They would end it now. You know, it's like, oh, our sales are suffering. We're gonna kill this line of cars. I don't know. They think they see something that I obviously can't see, you know, but I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong, but I don't know. I don't get it.
If they kill the Hemi before one of those ends up in a Chrysler Pacifica minivan, I'm going to be pissed. They had to do that one time. I mean, come on, guys. You know, we bought enough of your shit. Give us one crazy car for the guy with 8 kids that just, his wife won't let him he can't even fit all his family in a Durango. So he's like, what am I going to do? I was hoping that they'd get a Pacifica out there with the Hemi in it, but I guess that's not going to happen.
So is the Hemi done like officially for all platforms, whether it's the Challenger, Charger, or are they going to continue doing it for the truck?
It sounds like they're going bye-bye with the Hemis, period.
Really?
I was kind of wondering the same thing about the trucks. It seems like most of the talk has been focused in the car lineup, but I imagine if they're getting rid of the Hemis, all of them are going to go bye-bye, which is crazy to me, because I'm like, okay, are they going to put a turbocharged V6 in, you know, a Ram 2500, or is it going to be, you're either going to get an eco diesel or you're going to get, God, I can imagine they're going to come out with an electric truck, and then you got the Cummins. So who knows? Let's try to end on a positive note, if this is even a positive note. But Sean coming strong with these turbo Mopar questions. He asks, do you guys like hardtop 87 to 95 LeBarons, or am I the only weird sumbitch that's into those? I'll tell you a fun fact. Those cars, the hardtops in Mexico, were known as Phantoms. And I like Daytonas better, but if I needed a cheap driver and I could find a turbocharged one with all the options, hardtop, black, you know, for $1,000, yeah, I drive the hell out of it. Now, would I spend a bunch of money modifying it? Probably not. But I don't have a problem with them now. I do have a problem when they're all like loaded like what grandma would have, then I'm like, okay, it doesn't do anything for me. But I have seen a couple cool LeBarons in my life. So I'd say I do like them, yes. Do I pursue them? No. But do I like them? Yes.
I always thought that the hardtops were cool. If I was going to ever roll one of those, I would have rather had the hardtop, not the convertibles. Freaking everybody had the convertibles, but I'm just not a convertible guy. I'm just not a fan of them. So.
No, yeah, definitely agree with Johnny. Not a convertible guy. Every car that comes out convertible, I'm always picturing them hardtops. So, so I'm have to say, yeah, the hardtops are pretty sick.
I'll tell you what. If we'll end on this because we've got an hour and 20. If you put one of those LeBarons up against a Thunderbird of the same years, I'll pick the LeBaron every time. Even though you could get the Thunderbird I think you could get them with a 5-liter. But yeah, no Fords for us. Thanks for joining me today, guys. This was completely impromptu, and it turned out to be a pretty fun episode as usual. So no surprise there. Johnny, tell them where they can get all your fun content.
YouTube. Go to YouTube. Look up Jonny Mopar. I'm not going to mention Facebook anymore because people try to friend me there. I just don't pay attention there, and I don't like vetting people. So I don't even bother. You can also find me on Instagram, Johnny with a, what would you call it, underscore, and then Mopar, or maybe there's no space. I don't even remember. Anyway, look up Jonny Mopar on Instagram. You'll find me. And the Motley Crew of Mopars on Facebook. That's where you can find me.
Yes, sir.
That'd be a better place on Facebook. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Ervin, you want to share your Instagram, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, still gonna be the same thing. All out Mopar, all.out.mopar. I'm not really active on that page that I should have been, but I'm always busy, brother. Just work. I need to get a second phone or something so I can start sharing some content. But I'll get to that soon.
Right on, brother. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you all in the chat for joining us and sending us some questions. That kept the chat going. It was a lot of fun. I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars live with the Motley Crew of Mopars. We'll see you next time. No Mopar left behind.
Wow, folks, that was a rough one. I don't know what was happening with my equipment, but I could tell that something was not right, and I was trying to adjust it during the live stream, but I just couldn't get it tuned in. I have to look at what happened, but the mic sounds good now. So what I think it was something in the settings on StreamYard, which is the platform I use to host these streaming sessions. So I need to figure something out there because I think one of the settings was off, and that's why it sounded like I was recording in a bathroom and making popcorn at the same time. So I apologize for that. Hopefully you got through it. And, there you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about the show, you know where to go, talkingmopars.com. And you can reach me by emailing chris@talkingmopars.com or by leaving me a voicemail on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR, and you just might get to hear yourself on the show. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars live.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.